I think it's hard to fathom what's going on in the president's mind. This is a very emotional decision to end the nuclear agreement with Iran. It was a very political decision which he undertook for his base. The United States didn't so much pull out of the agreement. That's probably a misnomer. When it comes to the nuclear agreement, the United States really decided to violate it. It wasn't the United States' right to undermine the agreement. This is a global agreement. And the U.S. essentially, I think it's fair to say, did not pursue the actual instruments of negotiation set out in the current agreement. And as a consequence, I think it could be said that we have violated the agreement by so-called pulling out of it. For Iran's internal politics, the American decision leaves the Iranian leaders with two options. One is simply to pull out of the agreement completely and to renew enrichment and to accelerate enrichment and to go back to where they were moving before. The other option is to try to keep the agreement by sustaining the relationship with European countries in the hope that the various efforts that European companies have made to renew and expand business relationships with the Iranian government and with Iranian businesses are sustained. For the relationship between the United States and Europe, obviously this is a make or break point in so many ways. From the vantage point of Europe, which has seen the Trump administration violate so many international agreements, this seems like the last card, the coup de grace. So for the Western European governments in particular, this is a moment in which they're going to have to decide at this point whether to go it alone, perhaps with the support of China and Russia, or to simply let their businesses bend to the pressure of the United States, which will be profoundly disturbing and aggravating for European governments. From the point of Russia and China, particularly Russia, the Russians are only too happy to see this dissension, this conflict, this tension between the United States and Europe. They have been working hard to create a wedge between Western Europe and to create a wedge within the EU itself. And this just will facilitate their efforts. The economic consequences globally that will emanate from the decision of the Trump administration to end the deal with Iran are really very significant. They could possibly push up oil prices. Rising oil prices will affect interest rates, will create inflation. They could be damaging to international trade in a very significant way. And they could come to haunt the populist agendas of many governments, including that of the Trump administration. And that raises the prospect of both recessionary pressures and inflationary pressures, a double whammy. Unless some sort of tempering effort is undertaken to counteract the rising prices of oil, the effects of this decision could be quite negative.